Well, hello, General Hospital Daily Recap fans. Today's daily recap is for Tuesday, September the 27th, 2022. Not too much action today. Diane is still in surgery, so we're all keeping our fingers crossed with that one. But the antidote was administered to her during surgery. So excellent. That was a very good sign. We have um, Jordan coming to the hospital. Talking. Curtis and Portia were together. Jordan comes up, and they were kind of talking about Jordan. Like um, he was asking how did it go, talking to Jordan. Earlier, and she was like, well, she wanted to make sure that no leaks came on the hospital end, because Curtis would say, well, I think it was a good thing that the invader let us all know that there's a dangerous killer on the loose, and we could be more, vigilant with our safety. And she goes, well, Jordan didn't feel that way. She really came down on us about the leak at the hospital, or Jordan didn't feel that way. I think it left it at that. And Jordan is getting off the elevator and she walks up. That's because the leak came from the hospital and probably the doctor staff. And we can't have that kind of pertinent information, just information, everything about the case getting out there. So Curtis and Curtis, Jordan said she needed to ask some more questions of Portia regarding Diane stabbing. And so Curtis says, well, I'll leave you two to it. And Portia says, yes, Dr. Finn did confer with me. I do know a lot. I'll be happy to talk to you about it. So they go to Portia's office and they're talking about it. Jordan is a bit more abrupt, but to me, she was in police commissioner mode, no time for dilly-dallying. And she did find out that, some of the ins and the outs, that the administration, the antitoxin or antidote was administered already. And, Diane, hopefully, will be on the amends, but she is still in surgery. And they would just go, oh, and she says, and this time the wound was more precise with Diane's wound versus um, Brando and Ava's wound. And so what Jordan says is, look, the killer is perfecting their attacks, perfecting their intended kills. And what Jordan said is, look, Ava lived because there was no poison. Or this could even be Portia saying this, but I think it was Jordan. Ava lived, so now they put poison on it to get something deadly in the wound if the stab doesn't kill him. Well, Brando died because the medical staff didn't know. Well, now that they're going to save Diane, Jordan feels they're going to be more deadly, which is true. They're going to change up, switch up the mode of attack again. I mean, but look, they're going to have to do it fast. I mean, where they're going to get a different kind of venom, but who knows? Who knows with that? Um, Alexis calls and tells Sonny. Sonny was over at Sasha and Gladys's place consoling them, and so was Nina. And Nina was being a big help to Sasha and Gladys. And so Sonny steps outside because he wanted to go to the hospital. And Nina walks him out to the hallway to talk to him and, tell him be safe. And he's telling her to be safe and all of this. And Sonny's phone rings and it's Alexis telling him frantically about Diane. He's like, wait, calm down a bit. So she gets the information, he hangs up, and Nina's like, what's going on? And he says, Diane Miller has been stabbed. And she says, oh no, and he's like, I gotta get to the hospital. Can you please just, she goes, no, I got things here. You go to the hospital. It's like, be careful. She's like, you too, be careful, Sonny. So Sonny's on his way to the hospital to kind of see what information he can get. Well, meanwhile, Dante is debriefing or interviewing Dex about, you know, his recounts of the event, what happened. And of course, Dante's real stern with him, saying, look, bottom line, you were at all three crime scenes and you don't really have good alibis. He goes, yeah, and at two of those crime scenes, I was the one who saved the victims, and hopefully this one too. And he goes, yeah, but you know, not at Brando's. He goes, because I had already left. I was gone. That's why, you know. So he says, I want my lawyer. But no lawyer, of course, was ever called. Dante got more information, said, look, this is your time to save yourself, and blah, blah, blah. So then as he's walking out, Dex is like, so am I under arrest? Can I go? And he looked at him, he goes, call your lawyer. And I was like, oh, after you pretty much interrogated him without a lawyer, you know, now it's call your lawyer. But guess what? Alexis is no longer a lawyer. Martin Gray's out of town. Nobody knows where he's at. Diane was stabbed. What other lawyers are left in Port Charles? I don't know. As a matter of fact, what lawyer does Sonny have on retainer right now? I don't know. So anyway, Dex takes his cell phone out and he immediately calls Sonny. Sonny got a little bit of information just because he wasn't family that, you know, Diana's still in surgery. But then his phone rings and it's Dex and he's like, where are you? And he tells him I'm at the PCPD. And so Sonny's like, I'm on my way. Well, Jordan calls Rory, who is double dating with Trina, Josh, and Cam. They're double dating at that axe place where they throw axe at the targets. And they're having a good time, you know, on their double date. It was really kind of cute. But then Dex gets a call and Jordan says, look, I know it's your day off, Officer Cabrera, but I need you here. There's been another stabbing, Alexis Davis. And she says, I need you to come to the hospital to stand guard when she comes out of surgery. And he goes, I will be right there. You can depend on me. So by the double date, even though we don't know exactly when it started, but even the demeanor that Rory had on the double date, I think we could pretty much rule Rory out as the stabber. Okay. And then Drew turns up. Well, let me finish with Rory. So Rory tells them that yes, there's been another stabbing, and unfortunately it was Diane Miller, and they're like, oh no. Trina's like, Diane, and Jocelyn's like, oh my God. So Jocelyn is just, oh my goodness. So he's like, look, I have to go to the hospital. You all please stay together and please be safe, okay? And so Dex goes out. Not Dex. Rory goes out. Jocelyn follows him and says, look, I know you can't tell me too much, but can you? And he said, when he was talking to the three of them, there's a suspect in questioning right now. So she goes, I know you can't tell me everything, but can you at least tell me, you know, who it is? And he looked at her, he goes, no, I really can't. He says, but the only thing I can tell you, it is somebody that has been on all three crime scenes. I can't tell you that much. And he walks away. So she instantly remembers she was the one that found Dex at the pool, saying that the police wanted to talk to him because he was also found at the crime scene. Not at the crime scene. Yeah, that he was in that alley before Brando had gotten stabbed. And he goes, well, thank you for that information. But, you know, Dante had already questioned him. So she started to think, oh no, it's Dex. So what's the first thing Jocelyn does? She goes back in. She said, listen, you guys, I have something I have to take care of. And Trina's like, wait, no, we should stay together. And Cam's like, I'm not about to let you go out there at night in this dangerous, you know, situation. And she goes, look, Sonny, thanks to Sonny and she should be saying, thank you, Sonny. He doubled my bodyguards. I mean, I won't be left alone at all. And she goes, you two stick together and get home safe. So she bolts out of there. And in my mind, I'm thinking Jocelyn is headed for the PCPD. Jocelyn wants to find out, is it Dex? Jocelyn wants to, I'm sure enough, guess who walks in? But Sonny had already pretty much gotten to the precinct. Dante let him talk to Dex, and Jordan comes in. And Sonny says, well, you know what? So since Dex is not even being afforded an attorney, then you obviously are not charging him with anything. And she's like, she just looks at him. So he looks at Dex and he goes, let's go. But Dante had talked to him, and Dante was saying, how much do you know about this guy, Sonny? There's something not right. And Sonny is looking like, because Sonny in his mind, he's thinking, I know I told him to watch after Diane and lock up the place. So Sonny's got some questions, but Sonny, being stone-faced Sonny, goes in and he speaks to Dex. And then when Jordan doesn't say he's arrested, he goes, come on, Dex, let's go. So they let him go, and Jordan tells him as he's walking by, don't leave town. And he just looks at her, and they walks on out. And so Sonny tells him, come with me. And there's a scene where they're he's getting in the car. Sonny's already in the car. He's just stewing a bit, right? Like, okay, you know what? How many times have I given you a chance? How many times have you not done what I told you to do? And he's like, something ain't right here. Something ain't right. So he goes, thanks, boss, for giving me a ride. And he looked at him and he goes, yeah, but we're stopping off somewhere else first. And Dex is looking like, oh no, okay, like, okay, boss. So we're going to see what Sonny has in store for Dex tomorrow. That's going to be very, very interesting. Now, Trina and Cam, they have a good chance to talk and clear the air. And Cam says, you've been avoiding me ever since it came out that I knew, Spencer pretty much has been on your side the whole time. And she goes, yeah, because I'm pretty upset, still mad at it. She says, I don't plan on holding a grudge, Cameron, but I need some time to just get over that. And he goes, fair enough, because I was torn between two friends that I care about. And he's like, have you ever been in that situation? So of course, immediately she goes to the conversation with Jocelyn and not telling Cameron she had been dumpster diving with Dex and, the whole thing, because while Cameron and Rory went to go get the axes, they were talking about that, yeah, well, something about, well, you still haven't told Cameron. And she's like, Cameron didn't ask, and I'm not going to tell. So, like Jocelyn's kind of like, leave that alone, girl. And then the guys get back. So, of course, they changed the subject. But they had fun on their double date for as long as the fun could last. Then we have, okay, Drew shows up in Florida. He pretty much had hopped on a plane and went to go find Carly, right? Because remember when he called the event promoter, she said, called Mia, she said Carly's didn't make it. Her plane got, emergency landed in Jacksonville, Florida. So Drew got on a plane to go there. So Drew is not the hooker. Okay, Drew's not the hooker. And it looks like Trina and Rory are not the hooker. And Cameron is not the hooker. That's the way it's looking right now, according to, these timelines and these events. And then we have, see. So Drew and Carly, they're coy with each other. He brings beer, they're talking, and he, just catches her up. Sorry about Brando. And she's, yes, gonna come home, but then I decided to stay, and I thought no, because she almost said Sonny said I should stay, and she didn't say that. She rethought that. I decided Sonny and I talked, and I decided I should stay, and I'm like, no, he convinced you to stay, but okay, Cardi. So she and Drew have a good night, and he's like, well, you know what, Cardi, it's getting late. I'm gonna go find me a hotel room, and I'll be back in the morning. And she goes, well, wait, why don't you stay here? You can sleep on the couch. And she goes, I'm sure it's a pullout. And he's like, what? Me stay here with you? She goes, yeah, it's the least I could do. So he realized, like, okay, and I'm thinking, okay, we're gonna get some hanky panky, right? But no, Carly comes out of the bathroom in a nice pajamas, actual pajamas, not lingerie, because then you would have thought, why did she bring lingerie on a seminar trip? So she had some nice, they look like kind of silk or nylon pajamas on, and he was making the tiny love seat couch. I mean, that barely covers, if Drew laid down with his head, it comes down to just right at his waist. It's so short. And Cardi's like, I'm so sorry, I thought it pulled out. Let me call the front desk to get you a cot. And he goes, Carly, look, you forget, I was kept in a cell for over 2 years, sleeping on a cot. She goes, this is heaven compared to what I had to go through. So she says, okay. And she gets in the bed. He lays himself uncomfortably down on the love seat, and she turns out the light, and she says, Drew, thank you once again for coming here. I really mean that. And before they got into bed, he had told her, you know what? We are going to make sure your mother's resting place does not get moved. So he's obviously planning on staying there with Carly. And I guess this is going to be a little adventures in Carly land, right? So it was cute and nothing happened. I don't even think they kissed each other goodnight. But Curtis catches up with Jordan. Portia, after she had been talking to Jordan. And he's like, how did it go? He goes, it was a little tense. She says, it was a little tense, but it went okay. I gave her all the answers that I could. And she was saying, but Jordan was a little abrupt. And he goes, she was that way with me too. And Portia's like, what do you mean? She was talking to me about, was I sure that we had honesty in our relationship? Were we solid? And it was a little strange to me. And it hit Portia, flashback of where Jordan had told her that, yeah, we all should be about telling the truth. And then the scene where she and Jordan were caught in the basement that was filling up with gas. She remembered how she was telling, Jordan, because Jordan was supposed to be unconscious, that, I can't die here. I need to tell Trina. I need to tell Trina the truth about her father. So she snaps out of it and she tells Curtis, Curtis, I'm sorry, I forgot something. I have to really go take care of it. Do you mind? And he's like, no, handle your business. And so she walks off. Well, the next scene, it shows her coming in Jordan's office. Jordan, we need to talk. And she slams the door. And I forget what else she tells her. And Jordan looks up at her, and I thought, uh-oh, that's going to be good tomorrow. Because I'm sorry, Portia, be careful for what you just wished for. Because you coming in there, she goes, where do you get off telling Curtis something? And Jordan's just looking at her. So I predict Jordan is going to spill the beans to Portia, and she should. What she feels is happening and the truth about Trina's paternity. And guess what? Portia is not going to walk out of that office the same way she walked in. She's going to walk out of that office in tears saying, please, please don't tell him. Please, please. My daughter doesn't. Oh, yeah, it's going to be please, please, Jordan. So we shall see, and we shall find that out tomorrow. So now on to Comment Corner. And another little heartbreaking moment for Sasha and Gladys. Gladys says, you know what? We should start making arrangements for the funeral to lay our boy's body to rest. And she's trying to, use the credit card, Sasha's credit card, to make the funeral arrangement, and the card is declined. And Sasha's like, wait, what? I have more than enough money in my account. And then Gladys looks like, oh. And then Sasha looks like, oh no, Brando has to sign off on my purchases. And she's starting to break. And Nina's like, no, no, look, just use my credit card. Here, use my card. We're going to get this taken care of. And Sasha's like, I'm supposed to be the one to handle this. And she breaks down and I think ultimately Nina paid. I think they just didn't show it on screen because Gladys told her, thank you so much for what you've done. And I know I have not been the nicest person to you, so I think Nina ultimately paid because, let's face it, once it's turned over to the new conservator, that Brando's funeral arrangements can be taken care of. So let's quickly go to comment corner. I'm going to skim right through these comments. LaSancha says, Sonny just hit my nerves. Why doesn't he believe Dex? Can you have, or you can have faith in Nina, but you can't trust anybody else. And then she says, Portia made a big mistake. Yep. Dumb Curtis and stupid. And since he's got so much belief in his boo, I can't wait. Yeah. He said, poor Jordan thinks because she's keeping secrets, everybody does. Well, guess what? Yikes, in this case, his little woman is keeping secrets. Now, Kai says, how come nobody has thought about Rory seriously? I think Rory had an alibi today. He's a cop, so he can go in and out of prison where Ryan is. He can talk to him. He can come to do his satanic plans. He is also always too fake and nice, she feels. He said he's into graphic magazines. I'm thinking maybe it was graphic novels, kind of like, the little Dragon Ball Z kind of things going on. He's also has people that trust him at the prison, that can harm Spencer. So Spencer's not safe. He has a pass with Esme. I'm telling you, she feels that it's Jordan. I mean Rory. I don't feel it's Rory. That would be thrown out of left field if it's Rory. But look, I think they planning on doing us a left fielder though. And then Kydis or Sindis says Nicholas made a bad decision with that confession. Yeah, but that's Nicholas. But he's thinking I'm doing this gallant gesture, and guess what? All somebody needs to do is find that card Ava might leave laying around. And guess what? You have this video on your phone that can get hacked. Okay, we'll see how that goes. And Lisa says, Willow, she's not even strong enough to be the killer. That makes no sense. As Wiley, haha. Oh, makes no sense. It's Wiley. No, it's not Wiley. It makes as much sense as if it was Wiley. And then Joseph says, Willow is like her mother and her sister. She is evil. She is an evil and she's a liar. Is she? I do know. Why did I say is she? Her lies of omission about her medical condition are still lies. They're just omission, and plus she's not telling the truth about the tests that are being run on her and why. So yes, she is a liar, but I don't think she's I know she's nothing like Nell, and she's not like Harmony at all. And Nina either, depending on which mother we're talking about. Lisa also says Dex seems to disappear before the stabbing, but Johnny right on the spot after. He is the first one there to save the day. I think it is Esme doing the stabbing and she's working with someone. You go, Ava. Make him work very, very hard to let Nicholas get back in her life. Spencer is not out of danger in prison. He's a sitting target. Yes, he is. For someone to try to take him down. for Esme, if it's her. And Annette says that Nell is the hooker. Nell is dead. Nell is dead. Robin says, Dex saved Diane. He looks guilty, but he was keeping her alive. I know. I know. And if there's really going to be a Jocelyn, Dex, and Cam triangle, it's not going to be Dex. Michael says, I'm fairly certain Diane will live. Once Diane was found alive, she will certainly live. I know. I'm happy about that too. And Adriana says, yay, you're a legal for the legal maverick. Come on, Diane. Even though it may not be Dex, there's something off about him. Something's not quite quaint in the milk. There's something off about Dex. The fact that he is a double agent, that makes him a little bit off too, right? He works for Michael, but his Sonny thinks he's working for him. Then it says, Nicholas is so stupid. My baby said, don't confess or write it down. I know. And then when she said Ava recorded him, she fell out laughing. And then Lisa says, very stupid of Nicholas. And then we have Sheila that says, there's a scene during the summer showing Esme spying on Trina and Rory at the gallery. I remember. She says, Esme had a big smile on her face seeing them together. No, Esme had a smile on her face because she finally thought, yes, Trina can finally be interested in somebody else and gets her hooks and her thoughts off of my boyfriend. I really think that is why Esme was smiling. And then Kai says, I agree. I think he's a boyfriend of Esme. Wow. She said to Spencer, you're not my first. Yeah, but understand, Esme and Spencer came to town together, so you're not my first. Before she went to that boarding house, that boarding school, Ryan sent her there, with the probably instructions were to get next to Spencer. Because remember, Ryan was sending Spencer all of these letters that were coming back unopened. That's interesting. Hello there says, I'm not crazy about the idea of Esme being the potential killer because it's too obvious. However, if Ava tries to put Nicholas in jail for killing her, then he will be off the hook if Esme is found alive. That is so true. But she thinks something's off with Finn. With this venom, she's feeling the whole thing that, it's just too pretty much wrapped up and easy and neat that Finn was able to get this anti-venom, and says if Diane dies, then it would question whether his antibodies were not real. No, Diane's gonna live. Perhaps he is in it with Esme. Finn is not in it with Esme. He would not do anything to put Violet in jeopardy. He would not. As a matter of fact, some of Anna's activities made him feel uneasy because, especially when she was just protecting Peter August at no cost. He didn't want Violet around any of that madness or craziness. And then Cynthia says she never liked Finn. He used to be Cyrus. Yep. And that was when he was Kiki's father. And then he died. And she goes, she hates when they bring people back. Like Franco is gone and now he's Austin. I do not like Franco as Austin whatsoever. And then Anthony Moore says the hook killer is going to be mad because of Dr. Finn's cure of the poison, which is so true. It's going to make him double down on something else. I guess the killer has enough time to read a letter from the invader. I know. And then look, correspond back. Okay, yeah. And then Medora says, look at Nicholas trying to fall on his sword like a Spencer move. Now Nicholas needs to put that much effort into his son. Then Sandy says, Cody is on my last nerve. Why is he so paranoid? Thanks for the review. Cody is paranoid because Cody's true misdeeds have not come out. So he's thinking at any point, people are going to find out what he's been into because let's face it, Cody has been into some big trouble before he got to Port Charles, and it just hasn't really caught up to him yet. But he's about to get into more trouble dealing with Miss Wu. Selena is gonna woo. He's gonna wish he didn't know Miss Wu. So that is it, everyone. Thank you so much for all the comments. That is the daily recap for General Hospital today.